I went through my whole high school years thinking that I was a stupid fuck. Genuinely, how can I make some money? So what I started to do was charge other people in my class to do the coursework, and all I did was essentially rewrite new things. This is before ChatGPT and AI and stuff. You weren't really 18 until you left college or about to leave college.
Yeah.
So I used to forge people's existing provisional licenses to make it look like they were 18 or 19. So I used to get like a little craft knife and then use like little pieces of sellotape and make it look like it was like legit. I used to charge people like 50 quid or something.
Getting up, stacking them racks, but I pattern up, mattered off. No man in my circle with small dreams, no gassing up. Try back it up, back it up, back it up. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Right, welcome back, guys, to the podcast. I can't even remember what episode this is. I think this will be 6. I think. But yeah, we're joined with someone special here today. I got introduced to this guy a little while ago, started speaking here and there. I was just like, wow, super impressive in terms of like the track record of everything that's been done, cutting about here, there and everywhere. Can't keep up. So yeah, we've got Adam. So how you doing?
Good, mate, how are you?
Not bad. Busy, but we're all good. Just want to say thank you for coming through. We can have a chat, but yeah, just introduce yourself.
No worries. I'm Adam. I run an agency called Social Kick. I've run the agency now for about 8 years. As well as running an agency, I do a few other things as well on the side. Recently a new brand owner again. I've run a few brands in the past as well, but jump back into the brand side of things as well. So that'll be launching in the next month or so. But yeah, main thing people will know me for is the agency called Social Kick. So I started that about 7 or 8 years ago now. I think it's about in between 7 and 8. A social media marketing agency, influencer, viral campaign to brands. Started out on Web 2, now I'm over in Web 3. So yeah, a lot to cover.
Indeed. So I always like to get an understanding. I've said this before, but I can say it again. I always like to get a bit of an understanding of the guest in the sense of, like I said to you earlier, a lot of people, you know, will have an idea, they want to do a brand, they want to do a company, they want to do this, they want to do that, but they'll never do it. And it takes a special type of person to be able to just be like, right, okay, I'm going to do it, give it a go. Obviously, there's so many shortfalls and there's like so many mess ups and all that sort of stuff. So run me back, like, how was like school, how was that coming up for you? Were you one of these guys that was kind of like, you know, selling sweets and doing this sort of stuff? Like, where did the business mind come from? Like, how was that?
Yeah, so in school, I feel like, funny way to start a podcast, I feel like I was quite suppressed in school, to be honest. You know, when I went into high school, you do those, I think it's called, is it SATs or something, or whatever it is. It's whatever the test is that gets you from primary school into high school.
Oh yeah.
And essentially, I didn't do very well on that test, and I got put in the lower sets in school. So I think I was in like 4 out of 5, which was super low.
Yeah.
And even when I was trying to do like the upper level tests, they just told me that I couldn't. So like I went through my whole high school years thinking that I was a stupid fuck. Genuinely, that's I was just like, I'm not as smart as my mates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into college that I realised, oh, I'm actually pretty good at something here.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was like business to me is half common sense and communication. The other half is obviously, you know, you gotta have the skill to actually execute.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short, I went into the open day in college. Was about to do PE because PE was the only A that I got on GCSEs.
Oh, okay.
It was only PE. So I, played for the footy team, was playing outside a bit like footy. I just lived and breathed footy. So I was going in there and basically I went into the open day for college, and I'll never forget it. I knew the guy who was a year above me in school, and I went in there and he goes, oh mate, you need to do this PE GCSE, A-level or B-Tech, whatever it was, I think it was B-Tech, because I would just play like table tennis all day, it's great. And I'll never forget it, my dad literally grabbed me and said, you can fuck off, there's no way you're going in here. So he grabbed me, took me out, and he was like, right, where's the business department? Threw me and got me to speak to the business department in the college. And after like speaking to the guy for like 30 minutes, I was like, right, I'll give this a go. So I didn't even get the grades to do A-levels. I only had the grades to do a B-Tech, so I was like, right, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly, because BTEC's one of those things, for those that don't know, when you do a BTEC, you'll get the piss taken out of you because you're not smart enough to be doing A-levels.
Yeah.
But then what I realised in the first couple of weeks is, you're only in college to get the UCAS points to get you into university. And I realised that when you do a BTEC and you max out BTEC, because there's no tests or coursework, it's the equivalent of triple A star in UCAS points to get you to the next stage.
Oh, really?
So anyway, yeah, was in college, realised I was very, very good at it. So as well as like, I think I finished the whole course about 8 months ahead of everyone else, because I was going into class, I was sitting down.
Jeez.
And the guy was like, the teacher was like, why are you here? I said, what do you mean I'm here for class? He was like, no, we haven't even created the coursework yet, you're that far ahead. We haven't even created the coursework for you to do, so you just need to go. That's how far ahead I was.
Wow.
So because I had so much spare time, I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at something here. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, right, how can I make some money? So what I started to do was charge other people in my class to do the coursework, and all I do is essentially rewrite and reword things. This is before ChatGPT and AI and stuff. So didn't have the luxury of rewriting it like that and charging people, but yeah, I charge people like per assignment. And then another big thing was, because everyone was 16, 17, you weren't really 18 until you left college or about to leave college.
Yeah.
So I used to forge people's existing provisional licenses to make it look like they were 18 or 19. So I used to get like a little craft knife and then use like little pieces of sellotape and make it look like it was like legit. And I used to charge people I think it was like 50 quid or something per. But I got like
that's a hustle though.
Yeah, I got like loads of people in the college to do it, so I was making a fortune just through do it. And it worked everywhere, so no one was like, oh, it doesn't work. So yeah, that was the first bit, and then from there obviously got maxed out college points, the UCAS points, whatever it is. Got triple distinction star, and I didn't even have an interview to get into one of the top 5 unis at the time. So I'd done marketing at University of Liverpool, and at the time I think it was top 5 for marketing in the country, and got in, didn't even have an interview. Everyone else was having interviews, all the people who were smart in school weren't getting in, and I was like, wow, it's funny how the tables turn. But went into uni, and I mean, how do you want me to just keep flying through everything? Do you want me, because there's a lot to go through here.
Yeah, absolutely.
First year of uni, I started posting on Instagram. Well, it was actually last year of college, that summer, and Instagram at the time wasn't what it is today. It was, only some people had it, wasn't really a big thing, and I was always into my fashion.
Yeah.
And what I done was I created a brand, a page on Instagram called Men's Fashion Co. And essentially what Men's Fashion Co. was I'd just be reposting famous celebrities, posting Kanye's outfits, Pharrell outfits, all like the big dogs back in the day that everyone looked up to in the fashion space.
Yeah.
And I just started posting out of a hobby, didn't think you could make money out of it, none of that, and I just started posting. And after a year, I got about a brand reach out to me. I think in a year I got it to about 60 or 70,000 followers. So back then, that was really good, because not everyone was even on Instagram back then. Mm-hmm. So, a brand messaged me and was like, how much for a post on your page? And I was like, what, someone's going to pay me to post on my page? Bear in mind, this is before Love Island. This is before anyone was getting, what influencers were.
Yeah.
The only influencers are probably reality stars, so your Geordie Shore lot, stuff like that, MTV guys, Apart from that, it was mostly just generic pages, what I had, the fashion pages and the meme pages, etc. So
yeah.
I think I said something it's I said 40 quid a post or something. He was like, okay, cool, let me know your details. And then the guy paid straight away, and then he came back, and I was like, oh my days, I've just made what's the equivalent of a full day's work by posting one picture at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna double down on this. And that's when I really started taking it seriously, because I was like, that little 40 quid, 50 quid was wow, something can happen here.
Yeah.
So once I got the page to about 100,000 followers, IWC Watches reached out to promote their watches, and I was like, wow, that is a big brand, and I've always loved what they've done anyway. So I was like, that's insane at the time. Still in university, second year at this stage, got this massive brand wanting to work with me. I was like, I wonder if I could sell other people's pages to these brands. So I went to all the other pages in the network, the fashion page, luxury lifestyle pages, and I said, if I bring you clients, will you give me X% You're like, yeah, of course, because they didn't even know they could make money off it. You know, I was one of the first to monetize.
Yeah.
So I'd go out to all these brands, like message all the brands that were starting on Instagram, and I'd say, look, I can get you on this page, like gave them like 20 pages, and used to sell them like bulk promotion deals, sorry. And from there I just started to expand the network and create, at the time, what was a mini agency where I'd work, you know, for the brands to get them exposure via the network.
Yeah.
So that's how everything kind of started. You could probably say I fell into it because I didn't start it being like, I can make a load of money off this. It was more of a passion thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously it helps when you make money from a passion, because then it just like eggs you on even more to just double down on it. So yeah, from there I started a watch brand alongside the agency as well, because a lot of the brands we were promoting at the time, it was like, I don't know if you remember, MVMT watches, Daniel Wellington, all these brands were promoting on our pages, and they were making a load of money because they kept coming back, and that's how I knew they were making a lot of money, because otherwise they wouldn't come back and buy 5-10 post deals.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I've always been into my watches, I'm gonna start my own brand. So I start my own watch brand, and it's not as easy as just starting your own watch brand. I think watches is one of the hardest things to try and do, harder than clothing, harder than everything. So like the last however much I had, I flew to Hong Kong, got a supplier, found it, like negotiate with a supplier in Hong Kong, flew back, done all my own website, my own logistics, my own everything. I was a one-man team doing everything. That done really well, sold to over like 30 countries worldwide, got it featured in British GQ like 3 times, which is amazing. And then from there, the agency just kind of started to take over. I got blew out the water by the likes of Daniel Wellington and MVMT, because they were spending ridiculous amounts of money. I'm talking, we were spending like $1 million a month on marketing at the time, and I was still living in my dorm room in uni, you know what I mean, just kind of having to play around. You know, no real like business savviness about me whatsoever, or knowledge. It was just me just going for it. But I guess that also shows like when you just go for something and you believe in something, regardless of how much experience you've got or what people say, like you can make something work. Do you know what I mean? So that was good. But yeah, then the agency started to do really well. You know, we expanded and started to look after a lot of the bigger brands like Boohoo, 11 Degrees, like all the big like fast fashion brands that were coming out of UK sports brands. We were working alongside them. So I was like, I might as well just double down on that and focus on it to make the money. So yeah, that's pretty much how everything started.
Yeah, interesting. That's mad. So it's just, it's crazy how like, I feel like that happens a lot though in the creative space, especially with like YouTubers and stuff like that. You look at KSI, like he started out his channel literally because he like just wanted to make stupid videos. Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, okay, I can make something from this, and then it just grows from there. I feel like that's where the most organic success stories kind of come from. Yeah. Which is which is crazy. So you've done uni. Like when you finished uni, what was the plan after that? So I was making okay money while I'm in like the last year of uni. You know, the watch brand was very expensive, so it was everything that came in, I was putting back out on advertising and new stock and stuff. So I wouldn't say maybe I shed loads of money on that. Yeah. But the agency itself was doing okay, and I was like, right, I need to make a decision here on, am I going to go get an actual job, or am I going to, stick with this? And I just made the jump to basically straight out of uni to just go full time on the page and building the agency and seeing what would come of it. Had a lot of up and down moments. I think, there were stages where things weren't going amazing, and I was literally on my arse, and then I'd be doing okay, then on my arse again. It was just feeling out what was going to happen, and I didn't know how to build a company. Like the agency realistically was only created as a vehicle for my freedom, not as a entity to build equity and to then sell. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people these days, they'll start businesses already thinking about an exit, and I feel like that's definitely not the right way to go about it. So when I built the agency, it was essentially like, okay, keep it slim, keep it lean, don't employ a bunch of people that are gonna like bring me down if things do go tits up. Over the years I've employed quite a few people, but at the moment now, like I am still to this day the only official employee of the agency, because everyone is subcontracted into the agency. Right, okay. So whether it's per project, per month, it doesn't matter, like people aren't on
like full on like UK employee contracts, because most people we work with now aren't even based in the UK. I need people on different time zones. It doesn't make sense for me to have like a full employment contract with anyone in the UK. So contracting people in allows them to also be in control of their own financials. You know, they're not getting absolutely shafted on tax, and then I'm not either, with like national insurance and all that type of stuff. I just made the decision to do that. So I mean, I officially don't even live in the UK right now, so it wouldn't have made any sense to me anyway. But that flexibility is definitely paid off, because it means that I can run an agency from pretty much anywhere with a phone and a laptop. 90% of the time, just a phone. So that flexibility is definitely paid off, because it means that I can run an agency from pretty much anywhere with a phone and a laptop. 90% of the time, just a phone. So yeah, like
wow.
So yeah, it's that's the story behind it really. The agency now it's still the main focus, just because it's the main kind of like cash generator, but it's not where my passion is, which is why obviously you know more than anyone, I'm starting a brand as well to kind of go back into it, because when I did have the watch brand, I never felt so. The most euphoric feeling for me was getting off the train. I was coming down from Liverpool to London. I went into the WH Smith in Euston Station, opened the GQ magazine, and saw my watch just slap right bang in the middle. That was amazing. Then I walked down into the underground, jumped on the tube, and there was a guy on the tube sat opposite me wearing one of my watches.
Fuck off.
So that for me, and the thing is, for brand owners, that's the norm now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you build a culture, you know, you get a few thousand sales, you're going to see people out and about wearing your stuff. You know, you can't walk anywhere now without saying like Represent and all these brands, you know what I mean? Those lads have smashed it. But for me, I was still such a small fish. But then seeing someone wear one of my products, I was like the brand was literally called Adam Mark England, so my name was like slapped on the wrist. Do you know what I mean? And so that for me, that was such a big thing. And
that's
it was
crazy.
It was euphoric. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I've created something that someone else sees as valuable. They've bought it and they're wearing it. And for me, that's where I see my passion being moving forward into the future. I want to build things that people appreciate, see value in, and want to wear and want to represent. Do you know what I mean? So that for me was massive. So yeah, just kind of going back into that now more with the clothing brand, because I feel like a lot of people put me off, or would have put me off. The reason I say would have is I barely told anyone that I started the brand until it was up and like ready to rock, because people's opinions would usually be, oh, why are you starting a clothing brand? It's so saturated. And I'm already trying to build a clothing brand. I'm trying to build a brand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I completely get that.
That's something I've got a lot of experience in. You know, over the last 8 years working with some of the biggest. Like, I've literally worked with startups all the way up to multi-billion-dollar companies like Mastercard, Revolut, who are literally based over there somewhere.
Nice.
The offices just across the way. So I've got a lot of experience across a bunch of different niches. So I was like, why don't I just start it? Leverage all the networks, the connections, the influencers, the models, the knowledge I have of the space, the way I know how to get things viral. It makes sense to me to just build something. So this is my kind of creative outlet.
Yeah. And if you've got the blueprint and you understand the ins and outs of how that's going to work, then no one should really say like, don't do that. Just especially because I feel like you I'd say you understand it massively from your background and obviously being in the space, but you can't really just have a brand now. But that's not really what you're trying to do. You're trying to build like a whole collective behind it. So yeah, no, I do understand that. So just going back a little bit, so the Men's Fashion Co., when did that stop and then Social Kick start? Like, what was that change?
So Men's Fashion Co. was alive for about just over 3 years. So from just before I got into uni to just after, I ended up selling the page to someone because I wasn't making that much money, and the guy offered me quite a bit of money for it.
Yeah.
So I ended up selling the page, and then I just continued with the agency because I still had all the connections, all the networks, etc. The biggest turning point for me with that was when I then started the agency. I then built a page called Vines, like at VINES on Instagram. We built that up to 6 million followers.
Jeez.
And the reason we've done that was there's a woman in Australia, a very, very smart woman called Greta Van Riel, and we always spoke online just through we had mutual connections in the space. You know, she was building pages at the time in Australia. I was building over here in the UK, and she already acquired the page. I can't remember how many followers it was on. It wasn't huge, but she was like, I haven't got enough time to build this page. You know, would you want to help me? She came to London, and I met her for a couple of hours while she was in London for a few meetings. And she's like Forbes 30 under 30, like Shopify expert. She's like, she's owned a few brands. She owned Skinny Me Tea. She owned another company called The Fifth Watchers. She's got a brand now called Hey Influencers, which is an influencer platform. She's like serial entrepreneur. So when she gave me the opportunity, I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, just give me the logins, I'll run it up. So we built that page, got it from basically nothing to 6 million followers. We were doing about 50 million weekly impressions. We were selling ad space essentially on the page, and it was making a lot of money because it was so frequent. So we done really well with that. And I feel like that opened a lot of doors for me, because then that was like my biggest case study at the time, to be like, look, if you brands want me to not just help with influencer campaigns, but also help with your content strategy and your growth.
Yeah.
This is the page that we've got. Here's the proof. We just built that to 6 million followers. Why don't we do something in that? That's when I started to transition the agency from just running influencer campaigns to also doing more strategic, strategic stuff like strategy creations, creative directions, and just helping overall with the growth, not just for the influencer campaigns. So I guess the agency's just always adapted to what's needed in the space at the time. So, you know, there was one stage where people just wanted influencer campaigns. There was one stage people just wanted amplification with viral pages. Then people wanted like actual strategy and social media management. And, you know, so I've just kind of always adapted the agency to what's always been needed in the space at the time, which is when, you know, 2.5 years ago now, I fully transitioned or semi-transitioned the agency into Web3.
Right.
So, you know, we just seen a massive influx in traffic and people asking about NFT projects and crypto and all that side of things. And I was like, well, if I can just take all the winning formulas I had in Web2, bring it over to Web3, then I'm pretty sure that'll be, you know, a good place to start. More experience than most of these Web3 agencies that, you know, that lie about the experience or don't have any experience, because Web3 is only a couple of years old.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In terms of the mainstream anyway. So yeah, I started working with like big Web3 companies. Saw that there was much more money in that than there was in Web2 at the time, because it was so new and so much money was getting thrown into it by investors, VCs, etc. And they all needed one thing: they all needed marketing.
Yeah.
None of them knew how to market, because all of them were builders and, you know, they were building products and projects, but none of them could market.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a massive gap in the market for me to go in and fill there. So yeah, that's why 2.5 years ago we ended up transitioning into Web3 and looking after people on that side as well.
Interesting. So Web3, yeah, definitely is can be construed as quite controversial, I guess, from a perspective of obviously like cryptos and NFT had like such a big peak, and then obviously had that like big dip. But like there's a lot of conversation about kind of like people like, yeah, told you so. But there's obviously a big market for it. So like how's the space and that kind of scope looking now in terms of that space like?
I think the overall sentiment's starting to pick up again. We're still in somewhat of a bear market, but definitely not in a bull market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 2020, 2021, when we were like absolutely flying with crypto, I think a lot of people got excited, and then people ended up jumping ship when things didn't go as well. But I'm very glad that I stuck in the market, because now that I'm working with all the guys who are actually building, I can look at the space and go, the real builders are building in the bear market, and they're doing some incredible things, and no one's even going to hear about them until the next bull market, because they're so small.
Yeah.
They're doing incredible things that are going to change the world in terms of efficiency, payments, just ecosystems online. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So it's a big learning curve for me as well, because, you know, I'm learning a lot from the brands I'm working with, just through the things that they're doing, you know, the payment systems, like I said, the ecosystems, what they're trying to do and the problems they're trying to fix. People don't even know it needs fixing.
Yeah.
So it's a great space. I feel like it's got a bad name for it, just because people thought that, you know, crypto is a scam and NFTs jumped down, now we're in a bear market and everyone's getting shit on, and it's like, yeah, all those things did happen, but that's not the whole industry. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people in general are very, very good at focusing on the negatives.
Oh, for sure.
And,
For sure.
you know, it takes a certain type of person to take a step back, look at the positives and see the opportunity within the chaos.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I've done. That's why I stuck in it. The majority of other agencies that I know that jumped into Web3 are no longer in Web3 working with these projects because they were just like, oh, we can't make money from it now. You know, the hype's over. So the people that are still in the space, marketing agencies, the projects that are built and the investors still invest in, these are the people that are going to be seriously well off in the future because everyone's now going to be set up for the next run. So whether that's in a year's time, 2 years' time, I don't know. No one knows, to be completely honest. But I know that there'll be a lot better setup than those who just dipped out.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's interesting as well because obviously I feel like a lot of people just follow the crowd and like they feel like they say a lot of stuff and they feel like they know a lot of stuff and they just follow the crowd and kind of do that. But yeah, no, it definitely makes sense because I feel like there is so much. I mean, everything apart about our lives is literally all online. Everything's integrated into the internet, connections, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like anyone that's kind of focusing on it now, there's going to be like 999 like shit businesses that like don't bring any value, but there'll be that one that's doing something now that's going to be like revolutionary, which so it does make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it does make sense. Interesting. This was just a question I was curious about because I feel like if anyone that's older is watching, they would never have like a clue. So obviously you're working with loads of influencers and celebs and stuff like that. Most of the influencers. What's like the general vibe of like these guys? Like, are they hard to work with? Like, because obviously if you're working with like traditional companies, you're working with like an entity. But I don't know, like.
I mean, it depends at what level, because, you know, if you're looking at your TikTokers and your Instagrammers and stuff, some of them can be quite entitled.
Yeah.
Because it's new to them and they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But the thing is, if you take away one of the social media platforms and they're nothing, then they don't have the right to be any way about you whatsoever. They're just relying on one platform to carry their entire lives. It's just not going to work. And the reason I say that is, you know, I've worked with a lot of the Instagram guys in between the UK and the US. I've worked with a lot of different musicians and a lot of celebrities and a lot of people who are at the top of the space. Usually the people who are further to the top are a little bit easier to work with because they've got the procedures in you know, kind of in order. The agents know what they want, the celebrities know what they want. It's very easy to function.
Yeah.
These TikTokers and the influencers sometimes can be very unorganized, don't know what they're doing. They will never post on time. They won't feedback on stuff. The managers are all over the place. So I feel like the more reputable or the bigger someone is, usually the more organized they are because they get most of the stuff.
Yeah.
However, I do know a lot of influencers who are very, very easy to work with, but I feel like when I first moved to London, which was about 4 years ago now, I was very much integrated into the influencer spaces just because of the people that I was hanging around. So a lot of the YouTubers and the Instagrammers and stuff like that. I mean, TikTok wasn't even a big thing when I moved to London. But, you know, these people became good friends of mine, so I feel like I've got quite a good reputation within the influencer space, specifically in the UK, just because people knew that I was already integrated in certain circles.
Yeah.
So they never looked at me like, oh, it's Social Kick, this big agency. It's like, oh, Adam needs a post, or Adam's got a brand for me, yeah, we'll do it for Adam. So I feel like a lot of people respected me, so they'd actually execute because they respected me. Like, they didn't want to take the piss because they knew I was bringing opportunity to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when it's kind of an open book, like, for example, if a brand comes to me and they go, you know, we've got £50,000 to spend on influencers, create the best campaign possible. You know, obviously I would go to the people who I knew would execute and would create the best content, etc. So I would feed that through to people in a direct network, and that wasn't a secret with the brand. I'd never say to the brand, I'd be doing something that I wasn't. It's just, I'd be like, look, these people are all connected, they share the same follower pools. If you're seeing on multiple people within the same group and you get hit multiple times,
yeah.
people are a lot more likely to buy and follow whatever the KPI was at the time. So yeah, that's kind of how I functioned it. Obviously when I'm dealing with a lot of the bigger people, I've worked with people in different capacities. So, you know, whether it's me just paying them for posts or whether it's me actually creating something alongside someone. You know, I was working with a brand in the US called Color Switch. It was an app company. We got them to like 200 and something million downloads. It's on about 400 million plus downloads now, which is crazy. But we were running a lot of the campaigns with them, so we had the likes of, you know, Jay Alvarez and Amanda Cerny, and we got the in-game music made by Tiesto. Like, yeah, it was like,
no way.
Yeah, crazy stuff like that. You know, more recently in the Web3 space, we just done a project called World League Live. It's an app game, like a kind of like a FIFA Street thing on iPhone, with like Web3 elements built into it, like NFTs and stuff. We've done that with Alessandro Del Piero. So that was quite fun, and I felt like that was a little bit more organised than dealing with the other guys. Because there's like certain procedures. Things can move a little bit slower, but as long as it's moving properly, then I usually wouldn't be too bothered. But yeah, overall, I think it honestly just depends. You can get the nicest influencers. I'm not going to say the more followers people get, the harder they are to work with, because it's not true. Honestly, it's just personality based.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I'm living in LA at the moment, and I'll meet some, like, there's been times where I've met people, like, not even asked what they do, just like I'm vibing with someone, they're in the same friend group or whatever, I've been introduced, and they've got like 15, 20 million followers on a platform, and I had no idea, and you just wouldn't know because they're just the nicest people in the world. Then you get some influencers that have got like 500k on Instagram and think that they own the whole city, and it's just mental, do you know what I mean? So, because it's so new to them, they just feel entitled. But those people will be kicked off the pedestal pretty quickly, to be honest with you, as life hits them, so I just let it happen.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, I always imagined that. I just kind of wanted to clarify that, just because I was just had the same thought process. I've seen some videos and stuff online of like these influencers that really think they're the shit, but they're really not.
No,
so
they're not. Really not.
So, in terms of the brand, do you want to chat about that, or do you want to keep it a bit under wraps, or like what's the deal there? Because I'm quite curious.
I don't know when this is going to come out, whether this is going to come out if I've already launched or before. I don't know when you're going to release it.
Or when are you planning to launch?
Next month.
Maybe after then.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk about it. The brand's called Chess Club. The reason we called it Chess Club is I just really like the way that a game of chess is looked at, kind of like an analogy for life.
Okay.
Very strategic, always trying to be 2 steps ahead. You know, the game chess is looked at within you know, the people that I hang around anyway, is a very like elite game that like very sophisticated people will play.
Yeah.
So, you know, people who
continue, sorry.
may be wealthy, just may be in the know about things. I feel like a lot of interesting people that I know play it as well, and they play it a lot. So when I looked into it, I was like, you know what, this is a great name because there's nothing like it. And there's a lot I can play on as well from a kind of brand aesthetic perspective. So that's why I wanted to start something that was, just obviously chess isn't the most fun thing in the world for the majority of people that are probably listening to this, but what I want to try and do is make people appreciate and understand the analogy and the vibe behind it, the perception behind it, not just that it's a brand that represents a chess club, because it's not. I'm going to be trying to build a community for the hustlers, the creatives, the artists, the people that want to be a part of something bigger. And the brand obviously is starting as clothing, but there is already plans to make it much more than that. So don't want to talk about that side of it too much because it's so early days.
Yeah, of course.
But in terms of the brand is going to be very, very urban, but I want it to be what I like to call like sophisticated street. So I'm taking elements of the kind of British elegant side of things, but mixing it in with the street style that we all love and know. That you'd obviously know your brand as well. So taking inspiration from a lot of like the LA fashion space and kind of integrating that in with the British side of things, I think will have a nice spin. So yeah, looking forward to launching that next month. I feel like the brand itself is like, I'm not in a rush to get somewhere with it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing limited drops. We are not going to be just throwing up a website trying to sell 10 hoodies and selling out and then ordering more. Like, I want to make this like an actual club. I don't want people to be able to just walk into a store and pick it up just yet. That's not where we are, and I feel like I want it to be very picky, very specific on the type of people that we want to represent the brand. Anyone can buy the brand. I'm not saying people can't buy the brand, but in terms of who's representing the brand, the influencers, the artists, the musicians, the celebrities, whoever's going to be wearing it. I'm not going to talk too much about who will be, because I'd rather it be like you know, a surprise and I'm still working on a bunch of stuff. But
yeah, of course,
I want it to be something bigger than just a clothing brand, and to do that, we're going to be using scarcity to build up the hype for it. So, you know, you see brands in the UK like Cortez that do like password protected drops. Obviously they do incredible numbers, and they rely quite heavily on their email marketing campaigns as well, because the email signups, you know, the passwords get given via email. So the data that they have is absolutely insane. I honestly would not be surprised if 60 to 65% of their conversions came solely from email.
Really?
Yeah, just because of the way that they've set it up, and very, very smart. That the way, you know, they weren't the first to do it, but they've done it very, very well.
Yeah.
With our brand, we're trying to do something similar from the scarcity perspective, even though the brand's going to be nothing like that brand. Different price points, different vibes, different marketing techniques, but the scarcity model is something we're definitely going to be doing. But instead of a password protected website, we're going to be doing something called a checkmate protected website. So when you
very cool.
when you log on to or you go onto the website, you will see a chess endgame, and it's a one move checkmate. So we've completely coded all these games from scratch, and if you make the wrong move, it won't let you in. If you make the right move, it'll open the website for you. Very simple. So I feel like people who don't play chess but also want to wear the brand, I think it might be quite frustrating for them at the beginning, because they may not be able to get into the site.
Yeah.
But also what will probably happen then is you'll get people on the likes of Twitter and Instagram, etc., sharing the moves to actually open the website, which is ultimately what we want, because it's then organic word of mouth.
Yeah.
So that, alongside with a lot of the influencers and the celebrities, are probably going to be able to get it on. And when I say influencers, I don't mean your Love Islanders. I don't really want any Love Islanders or anyone in reality TV to be wearing the brand, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I feel you.
I want this brand to be a lot more for the creatives, the artists, the musicians, people within that creative industry, that have obviously a solid following, but also have meaning and personality behind them as well.
Yeah, of course.
So that's going to be the majority of what the brand is and what we stand for.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I feel like there are so many brands out there that they think they know trends, and they'll make some stuff, they try and release it, and then like they'll start like discounting all their products and just trying to promote it as much as possible, and it's just like it's shit.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, anyone can wear it, but you kind of have like an idealistic kind of audience, because the people that you would want to wear it, I'm assuming, obviously, like you say, like they want to wear it for like that particular reason, and you kind of like everything lines up in terms of what they stand for, what you stand for, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, if there's a strategic kind of like process put in place beforehand, then it does make sense. It's like with Cortez as well. Insane. Like they haven't spent a single penny on the ads. Like that's crazy. But like they've built something there.
Yeah.
And like you say, yeah, I feel like if you're kind of looking at that like mid-level luxury streetwear kind of in that space, like there's not really brands that are doing that. Obviously you've got Rep, but I feel like they're as big as they are because they've had like the longevity. But
yeah, and Rep's obviously different because their ideology is to just be absolutely everywhere, and they're trying to be accessible to everyone at the moment, which is why, you know, they're all over. Even when I was in LA, I've stocked in, you know, a lot of stores over there. You've stocked in a lot of stores over here. You know, websites always pretty much fully stocked, usually, with the majority of products, where we're not going after that just yet. We're really going after building a brand and building a community, and we want it to feel selective, because it is selective on who can get into that community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Just going to make sure we've got the right people wearing our stuff, the right message is getting across. And I feel like I'm probably going to play a big part in this as well, because I feel like in this day and age, every brand needs a voice away from the brand. And even though I'm doing this with my partner, who's actually my cousin Dom, I've obviously got quite a substantial following anyway on Instagram right now, more than the average, I'd say, anyway. And I feel like this might be a good time for me to kind of transition my personal brand a little bit as well, to go back and focus on what I actually love doing. Because if you go on my profile right now, you can see I've kind of went through like an identity crisis about 4 million times, because I just archive and unarchive stuff as and when I just feel like it. And I feel like it's mostly because the type of things that I post and like don't truly represent me, because what I was trying to do is, you know, if you go on my feed, yeah, I'm on yachts in Dubai and I'm in supercars here and in LA and I'm doing all that, but you know, people look at me and just go, oh, he's just a little, you know, the kid looks like he sells fucking Forex or something. That's not the vibe I want to be on. I want to be able to offer value to people and you know, be a creative output. To be honest, I tried the whole thing where it was like, I'm going to be like a business entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, like influencer, and I'm going to talk about this and talk about that. Bought a camera, done all this, these big setups, and I never ended up doing it. And it wasn't because I was lazy. I think there's a difference between being lazy and just knowing that this isn't for you.
100%, yes, of course.
After a little while, I realised, like, do you know what? It doesn't matter whether I bought all the cameras and all the ring lights and all the equipment. I don't think this is for me, because I didn't feel motivated to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas with the brand, I'm motivated to do it. I want to build it. It's a passion project of mine. Therefore, I'm going to be a lot more motivated to put something behind it. You know, talking about Men's Fashion Co, go right back to my roots. The way I transitioned out of Men's Fashion Co was actually starting to post more pictures of me on the page to begin with. So it was actually me not posting as many celebrities, but posting my outfits and stuff, and doing the thing back then. And this was like peak, like Kanye, Jay-Z, Watch the Throne vibes, like the long t-shirts with the zips on, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I feel like just going back to where I was, or you know, I've already carried the followers over to this point anyway, in terms of like the fashion side of things a little bit, and then the luxury lifestyle. I feel like I'm going to go back to my roots now and go, right, I want to post more things about fashion and things that you know, I find interesting.
Yeah.
You know, promoting the brand and kind of taking people through the journey of that as well. I think documentation's a massive thing for brands at the moment as well. You know, the likes of Cole Buxton, another brand which has done absolutely insane out of the UK. You know, those lads have documented a lot of what they've done, and you know, I genuinely do believe that those people documenting, like them documenting it, will. There's a gunshot outside.
I don't know what's going on.
By those documenting their journey, I feel people will have a closer connection to the brand.
100%.
And will be more incentivized to actually buy off them as well. So, you know, there's a lot of inspiration in the UK in terms of the UK brands. We're definitely trying to do things different, but I see people doing a lot of things right in the space.
Yes.
Where they're just going to try and make it as unique as possible, taking that forward. So I feel like documentation wise, personal branding wise, I feel like everything's going to start leaning more into what Chess Club is and what I want it to be.
Yeah. 100%. No, I completely agree. I mean, that's what we're trying to do as well. We're just trying to be, you know, positioned in a way where we put out good enough, well, not good enough, but we put out amazing clothing that people buy into, but then the people that we work with, obviously, and talk to and spend time with, obviously, like yourself, or if it's like a musician or whatever it may be, we can kind of bring that aspect into it as well. And then it's about bringing that person closer and kind of having that customer not want to kind of leave your space. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Which is really, really valuable. Did you watch the Cole Buxton documentary? Did you see that?
I've seen a few of them,
yeah. Because there's that one Still Here made by these two brothers. It's absolutely incredible, like incredible. But it just makes sense because people, they really do buy into that.
Yeah.
What's your stance on kind of like collabs and stuff like that in the future? Have you got any kind of, are you open to doing that, like later on down the line?
Yeah, stuff? There's definitely, the way we see the brand, I want it to be a collaborative brand, because I do believe that collaborating on partnerships in the space is incredibly important for growth. And I feel like it is kind of a massive hyper growth hack, because you collaborate with the right people and you both complement each other and you're sharing each other's communities, followings, socials, etc. It's just another way to get to see more other people and be seen differently. So, of course, you know, obviously we're not going to be collaborating with, I don't know, like Boohoo or something like that, something in the fast fashion space. You know, if we do collaborate, it's going to be with other brands who we see are either on our level or above, that are really going to elevate our brand and get us to where we need to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like people underestimate how important it is, like the perception of people's brands from day one, from when they see it. That first impression is so important.
So important.
From the website, the price point, where they're made, the people that's wearing it, the content you're posting on socials, that all matters so much to people.
Yeah.
Even if they don't think it subconsciously, they will build a perception of that brand very, very quickly.
Of course, absolutely.
For example, if I had an open website, we were selling hoodies for 50 quid and truckers for 20 quid or something like that, people would just look at it and be like, oh, just another one of them. Looks like a brand that like an influencer probably like pulled out their arse. Because the thing is, like, a lot of these influencers also do try and start brands and then they last about 6 months and then they all die off.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like, they think they've got it great because they feel like running a business is just creating content, and it's not. There's much more to it. There's bigger strategies in play.
So
You've
much
got to have a
more.
long-term vision for it, otherwise you're just going to die.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of the, I think from my perspective, something I've not struggled with, but I've kind of had to like tackle and learn and kind of understand is like, it's that like aesthetic and the feel that you put out there. It's crazy how important that is. Like, you have to be so succinct, you have to be so like within your brand and within that. And if you kind of step out of that even a little bit, it's just kind of like, like you say, put people off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mad. Have you got any, well, you don't have to, you might not want to talk about, I was just curious, have you got any kind of like Web3 plans for the brand?
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, probably shouldn't go into it too much detail because nothing's solidified, but
yeah,
what we want to be careful of is not being known to just be like a brand which is like a Web3 clothing brand. Like, we are a brand, full stop. We want to integrate things in Web3 that will help people find value in the brand. So for example, blockchain authentication of certain products. So
right.
Whether it's a barcode on each of the products that then links to like authenticity, like ownership, potential drops, I'd say NFTs, there's a lot of different ways we can integrate blockchain, NFTs, crypto maybe, but probably not. I mean, we're probably going to accept crypto payments on the website, which I think will be quite cool. I don't see a lot of brands accepting crypto as payment. So we're going to be putting some crypto plugins for people to pay for our stuff via crypto to begin with. But yeah, in terms of the kind of ownership stuff, I feel like, yeah, blockchain ownership could be the next stage for authenticity and stuff. You know, I'd like to think we're going to get to a stage where people are probably going to be trying to copy our shit, copy our designs, and copy what we're trying to do. So that'll come in very handy. And then yeah, in terms of the NFT side of things, I think maybe potentially a elite chess club NFT closed community where if you own the NFT, you'll have extra benefits for the actual brand itself. You know, whether that's discounts, experiences, dinners. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to be using that as integration in the future.
Yeah. And that makes loads of sense. I've seen a lot of brands do, not through Web3, but like Stephen Bartlett, our CEO, obviously, he's got like, he'll do a competition, people can come to watch the podcast live, or like with Represent, like you can get like early access to like the drops and stuff like that, or the Vault, or like massively discounted and stuff like that. There's so much potential, so much potential. So are you going to be kind of doing coverage of the brand in different countries and stuff like that, and trying to mix it up from that perspective? Or?
Yeah, because I feel like another thing we're doing with the brand, which a lot of other people haven't yet, is we're trying to conquer two sides of the world at once. If you look at any of the big brands that came out of the UK, they'll all start in the UK, only the UK. You know, they might get a few orders to other countries in Europe, but they don't try and smash America.
Yeah. And
the thing is, if you smash America, you smash life, because you know, you got what, 330 to 350 million people in comparison to the UK, which is like what, 70 million? Yeah. The audience is so much bigger. The culture's, I believe, a lot stronger in the fashion space anyway over there. You get a lot more cult followings over there. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm living in LA at the moment. The other people working on the project are based in the UK, so we'll have both sides locked off. And I feel like from a content perspective, I think it's going to be very important to show the worldwide aspect of what we're trying to do as well, to show we're not just located in one place. Like, the brand started in the UK 100% with elements from the US, But I mean, that's the whole reason, you know, we've got a collection inside of Chess Club, which is going to be called Chess Club Worldwide,
Okay.
which is a lot more on the global side of things. Just kind of, the designs are a lot more, just playing on the whole global thing rather than just being, you know, a UK brand.
Yeah.
It'd be great to be known as a UK brand, don't get me wrong, and I definitely want to be there because at the end of the day, you know, I'm from Liverpool, obviously. My cousin's obviously from Liverpool as well, like two just lads from Liverpool have started this brand. Of course, we want to be known, and I'm never going to like shy away from that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like trying to start the brand on a global scale from day one is a massive task for something in which we're looking to do.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And if there could be, that's just quite an interesting question. If there could be what, like outside the UK, outside the US, like what country would you want your brand to blow up in? Like where you'd look at that and be like, that's sick.
Probably one of the Asian countries, so probably Japan.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, Japan. I've always took inspiration for like Japanese culture, fashion. I mean, Tokyo is a place I've been to, which I've been absolutely dying to go to. I've done a lot of travel in Asia, but I've still yet to done Tokyo.
Yeah.
So I'd say either Japan or South Korea would be absolutely massive for me, just from a personal like perspective. You know, when I had the watch brand, a lot of the watches I was sending out were to Japan and Asia, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, so I feel like I kind of understand the Japanese market. The Japanese love anything to do with like British heritage or British made stuff. They love all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, they look at it as like it's up here for them. So
okay.
I'd love to be able to blow up in Japan. So yeah, UK, US, of course. But then, you know, you've got countries like Germany as well that are absolutely massive into the street fashion. And I feel like if you get Germany behind you, it carries a lot of weight as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I never expected that.
Yeah, the fashion scene in Germany is absolutely huge. So yeah, I've seen a lot of really cool like influencers and brands come out of Germany as well, especially back in the day. So Germany is a place I'd like to blow up as well. I think if you get the UK sorted, the rest of Europe just automatically follows.
Yeah.
From word of mouth. So, you know, similar to what you said about Cortez, I don't really want to be running any paid ads to any of these countries whatsoever. I'm going to be trying to do this as organically as possible, not even from a money saving perspective, but just like I've spent the last 8 years building up a lot of connections. If people understand me and they understand who I am as a person, my personality, what I'm trying to go for, they'll probably support the brand because they've got the same elements.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've got enough people in my locker to be able to get a lot of exposure for this from day one. So we'll see. Yeah,
no, of course. And yeah, I think the organic thing is super, super important just because you can have a big budget, you can go to an investor, get a load of money, spend 50 grand on ads, pump it out. But I feel like it's kind of, for me, it seems almost like, number one, maybe a little bit dated in the sense of kind of like, I don't know, like there's just a bit of, it's like naff, if you know what I mean, like someone buying something for an ad that they've seen, because it doesn't, like they'll buy it and then maybe forget about it, but if they've kind of like seen it and they're like, I actually am consciously making the decision to go out of my way to actually buy that, not because I've been told to, it holds so much more weight.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, working on the brand obviously now. Got anything else going on? Any other plans and stuff, or?
No, main focus is going to be the agency. I think inside the agency, you know, I've got other things I'm doing as well. Like at the moment we're also running an ad tech company as well. We're helping them raise money at the moment. Our company's took equity in their company to help them raise, which is interesting. It's an advertising platform. Can't talk too much about that at the moment. So I'd say that the main focus for me definitely is just keeping the agency up and running, working with good brands, and trying to focus as much energy as possible into making Chess Club what I know it's going to be in the future.
Yeah, amazing, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, I think we covered quite a lot there.
Yeah, we did actually.
Yeah,
spoke a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be. I'm excited. I'm actually really excited to see like what Chess Club can become. I think the thing I was going to mention as well is there's a real skill and art in business owners and businesses being able to promote something that's typically not seen as something that's kind of like super popular, like golf or chess and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When brands can do that, like I've seen like Melbourne Golf, or you know, even like Full Send, like the Nelt Boys, like they're doing like their golf bits and pieces, making that quite like cool. There's such a big market in terms of...
Mate, even Wilson and the most recent collab with Kith, some of the nicest stuff I've seen.
They did a collab with Kith?
They did a collab with Kith, I bought a few t-shirts. Honestly, some of the nicest stuff I've seen Kith make, and it's like Wilson collab.
Really?
Like all tennis related as well. So they got like the little, like the racket logos on the arms, and the designs are absolutely amazing. So I feel like Wilson's going in a really cool direction as well. Mate, you'd never catch me dead wearing Wilson. Do you know what I mean? Like that was a brand that they made basketballs and tennis rackets and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
Not a cool brand, but I feel like it really is becoming a cool brand. So yeah, there's sports aspects and activity aspects, and you know, there's different things people can play on. But yeah, I really want people to understand that chess club isn't just about people playing chess or for people who play chess. It's about people who are looking to be a part of something. The creatives, the hustlers, the grinders, the people who are just trying to make the most of life and trying to be the best version of themselves. That's who the brand's for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and there's an element of being strategic and having to think things out, plan things out, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely plays in there. I'm just imagining like an event, like people are getting their hoodies and tees, and you've got like the most intense like chess game, like, and it's been like live streamed or something, like drinks flowing, all that sort of stuff. Like it'd be sick. I'm imagining big things for it. Absolutely. So yeah, so where can people check you out on social? I can put it in the description as well. But
well, hopefully we've started the socials for Chess Club by then. But the handle's going to be at Chess Club Worldwide on Instagram. And then my personal is it's Adam Mark, ITS Adam Mark on Instagram. So the main platforms I use right now is just Instagram. Yeah.
Decent. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, go check that out. Hopefully the website and everything's all ready to go by then, so we'll put it in the description. Go check it out. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Cheers, mate.
All good.
Man, I feel evil, I know where the demons hide. Man, I'm on scheming time. Always been reading lies.